I was 16 when my older sister Sarah met him. His name was Ian, a man with cold eyes, strange stone rings, and a smirk that never left his face. Tall, sculpted like a statue, with faded tattoos that looked more like ancient symbols. He wasn't normal. I felt it the moment he stepped into our house. But no one else noticed. Mom and her new husband were too busy partying, drinking, and staying out all night. Most evenings, they didn't even check if we were home. Sarah was the only family I had. But after Ian, she wasn't Sarah anymore. Ian controlled her. She became obsessed, like a puppet on strings. If he called at midnight, she vanished without a word. If he forbade her to eat, she starved for days. If he told her to hurt herself, she obeyed. If he whispered a command, she followed without hesitation. If he ignored her, she wept like a child lost in a storm. And I was the only one who saw it. One night, Ian called her. She rose like a zombie, grabbed her coat, and left. I trailed her in silence. They met in an abandoned parking lot. I hid behind a rusted car and watched. Ian whispered something in her ear. She giggled, a hollow, childish sound, and then she began tearing out her own hair, strand by strand, smiling as if it were nothing. I watched, paralyzed, desperate to act, but too afraid. After that, I followed her every time he called. I became their shadow. Then one night, I saw something that shattered me. Sarah stood in his apartment, naked except for his coat, inside a chalk-drawn circle. Ian stood behind her, chanting in a guttural, ancient tongue. He pressed a red-hot metal sigil against her bare back. She screamed. The stench of burning flesh choked the air. And then she smiled. She fell ill for days afterward. But when Ian called again, Sarah went to him, as always. I followed, creeping to his apartment. Inside, candles flickered in the darkness. I peered through the window. What I saw made me gag. Sarah knelt naked on the floor. Ian sat before her, murmuring words I couldn't comprehend. Then, as they started making love together, she reached for a small glass vial, opened it, scooped out a thick brown sludge that reeked of rot. I stifled a gasp as she smeared it across her skin, her arms, her chest, her face. Then she pressed it against Ian's chest, staining his skin as he moaned. I wanted to turn away, but I couldn't, because in that moment, Sarah gazed up at him like he was a god, and he stared down at her like she was nothing but a pawn. Weeks later, Sarah's health deteriorated. She stopped blinking, started whispering to walls, refused to eat. One night, I found her carving symbols into her flesh. I begged her to stop. She just smiled and whispered, "He owns me now." A week later, she snapped. She tried to claw her own eyes out. We restrained her, screaming, and sent her to a mental hospital. The doctors called it a psychotic break, but I knew the truth. This wasn't madness. This was something darker. 4 years passed. Sarah slowly healed. But Ian? He moved on. Another girl, then another, until one jumped from a bridge. When the police investigated Ian, they found evidence. Drugs abuse, black magic, ritual abuse. He was arrested, and for the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe again.